First Things First is sponsored by Gillette, the best a man can get.
Welcome back. We'll get to Sean McVay in just a second. But first, big highlights from the game. Third quarter, Patriots D-back Jason McCourty comes across the field, prevents Brandon Cooks from scoring the touchdown.
One of many big plays. McCourty's not supposed to be in the play. He's on the backside. Goff couldn't set his feet and put enough on the throw. He comes to him late down the middle. The ball begins to flutter a little bit. McCourty gets there in his man. This is the reason why New England, typically, you don't give them credit. They got guys on that back end that make plays week after week.
Fourth quarter now, Rob Gronkowski with a spectacular diving catch in between two defenders to set up the game-winning touchdown.
This will be the story of Gronk's career. In the biggest spots, in the biggest games, who do the Patriots go to?
What does Brady
Gronk.
trust?
I mean, and this was the best throw Brady made all night. The Rams were in a bit of disarray pre-snap, running over to cover him with Corey Littleton. And they still, I mean, he's still close on him. It takes a perfect throw and a great catch, and both have.
And Gronk not nearly the athlete he used to be. I wouldn't be surprised after seeing him lumber up and down if this wasn't his last game.
Later in the fourth now, Stephon Gilmore and Deron Harmon knocked the ball out of Brandon Cook's hands to prevent the game-tying touchdown.
It's good defense. I feel like Cook.
Man, you got to catch this ball. Don't give me that old mess. Old guy Gilmore's coming over. Deron Harmon. No, man, you got to catch this ball. This ball hits his hands. Watch it hit his hands before they contact him. All right? Now, you got to be able to loop, make your left arm go free of him because he was holding his left arm. Take a little loop and get your left hand up under that ball.
All right, more from this game now. So the Rams had the second-best scoring offense in the league this year. Scored next to nothing last night. Rams averaged nearly 33 points a game this season, managed just 3 points last night. Gained only 260 yards of offense, converted just 3 third downs the entire game. Needless to say, not a winning formula. Here's head coach Sean McVay on what went wrong.
You know, there's really no other way to put it. You know, I'm pretty numb right now, but, you know, definitely I got out-coached, and I didn't do nearly good enough for a football team.
We were supposed to win this game, you know, but we didn't. They made more plays than we did, and, you know, it sucks, you know, because, like I said, this is what you work for, to play in this game, to be on this stage, and then when you feel like you ain't did enough to help your team to, you know, to win that and be a part of, you know, success, you know, it just make you want to, you know, work even harder.
It kills. It's terrible, and you know, there are some good things you can take from it, but right now there's nothing. I mean, it's a game. I wish I would have played better. I wish we would have played better on offensively as a whole. You know, I wish I could have had a million plays back, but there's nothing you can do about it. You just got to learn and move forward.
All right, so Jared Goff mentioned it about the offense. Let's stick there. What happened to the Rams' offense last night?
Well, number one, their offensive line got destroyed. They had no type of running game. And no type of running game, you can't support your quarterback. They're very, very limited being able to throw the ball. It's like, well, wow, man, this is the Rams. They've never been limited. No, they are limited. If you take away their outside, they don't have a tight end threat, and they don't have a constant back out of the backfield threat. So when you break down their passing attack, it's really based off of their ability to be able to run the ball and play action, which allows their wide receivers, who do have some speed, and Robert Woods and Brandon Cooks, to get deeper down the field, and then they run these combination routes. This offense has been a different offense the last 2 months since they missed Cooper Kupp. I said before that the quarterback, Jared Goff, his quarterback rating is down 30 points with Cooper Kupp out of the lineup. So they didn't. Sean McVay did not replace him, replace his productivity, or call plays that would replace that part of the offense. So for me, they have to be more versatile offensively. They have to get the tight end involved. The same way we talk about the Dallas Cowboys, the way you concentrate on their running game and Amari Cooper, it's the same way with the Rams. You have to have a third receiver if they're going to continue being their dominant formation would be one running back, one tight end, and 3 receivers on the field. If that's going to be your staple of your offense, you have to be able to do things things to get the ball down the middle of the football field. If you look at them, how many times did they try to get the ball between the hashes? Not a whole bunch. It's the easiest way to throw the ball in the NFL. That's why Tom Brady throws it that way, and they have to make it a little more friendly for the quarterback who really struggled.
Listen, it's not all on the quarterback, obviously, but what we saw last night was when he doesn't have the advantages that he's had the majority of the last 2 years, when the offensive line's unable to protect him and he's under duress, when the running game is non-existent, and when all of a sudden his mad genius young head coach is not scheming guys wide open, and it's about Jared Goff going out and making a few plays himself, he really struggled. In the first 3 quarters of the game last night, he completed 9 passes for 95 yards. In the fourth quarter, he actually got something going until he ended it with that interception. And all year long, the Rams, despite all the pre-snap fanciness that they do, we know what they've been about. Todd Gurley running the football, them getting in 3rd and manageable or 2nd and short, even better, and using play-action pass to dice you up. The play-action pass game was non-existent yesterday, and they didn't have a counterpunch. And C's absolutely right in that they took away their outside receivers. And on Friday, I thought it was really interesting. We did long shot MVP picks, and Coach Mangini picked Josh Reynolds because he thought if the Rams were, it was a long shot, obviously,
yes,
but if the Rams were going to win, it would
That's
be
what
because
they have to do.
They have to have that slot receiver come in there and do his best Cooper Kupp impersonation. Instead, Josh Reynolds targeted 7 times, 3 catches, 28 yards. Like, there was nothing they could do that scared you. And when you talk about they don't have a back that can catch out of the backfield, that didn't used to be the case. That was a huge part of Todd Gurley's game. In the playoffs, Gurley, 3 catches for 7 yards, or 4 catches for 7 yards, pardon me. That and C.J. Anderson, is not going to be a threat catching the ball out of the backfield. The Patriots were very comfortable saying, we're going to dedicate guys stopping the run. Most of the game, we're doubling Woods, we're singling Cooks, and Belichick said after the game, you can only double so many people. So this is what we're going to do, and if one of the others can beat us, then we'll have to adjust, and they didn't have to adjust.
We're going to spend a lot of time talking about Todd Gurley, or the lack thereof, in a little bit. But when you have a game that comes down to so much defense like this, how much of this is the fact that Sean McVay got outcoached? You mentioned this is not all on Jared Goff. Did Belichick just see what was happening and help sort of defensively outcoach Sean McVay?
Well, for one, we need to be the first show to stop saying Belichick. Brian Flores ran the show. Belichick wasn't calling that defense. We just all of a sudden, we're just going to give him credit for everything. He wasn't calling the defense. Brian Flores, as you mentioned in the article at Yahoo, it talks about what he meant to that defense, and those players talk about him. Sean McVay didn't adjust to what they're doing. He couldn't get. And it's kind of like a point guard. You got a star shooter. You got to get him the ball. You got to get him the ball close to the bucket. We need to see the ball go through the net so you can start to get a rhythm. He couldn't get Jared Goff in a rhythm. He couldn't call a play. He couldn't get in a formation where he could get his star player to get that rhythm, to see it go in, that they start to have some confidence. And that's what you expect out of your offensive coordinator. That's what you expect. We saw the impact since Sean McVay's been hired on Jared Goff. And he could not help the kid in this game. The difference between Jared Goff and Tom Brady, at this stage of Tom Brady's career, he was on a run-dominated, defensive-dominated team. That's how they won those first couple of Super Bowls. And that's what they needed last night, just part of the game for Jared Goff, so that he could get his feet up under him and get some type of confidence going.
And Belichick also said after the game, he said the way the Rams have killed you is these explosive plays. We talked about it all week. He said they had over 120 over the season explosive plays. Now, I'm not sure how the Pats define explosive plays, but assuming that means 20-plus yards, they had one play like that in the entire football game. Like Belichick said it afterwards. We wanted to see if they could just methodically drive down the field on us. We felt good about our chances in that spot.
Belichick also mentioned before the game, Sean McVay mentioned that him and Belichick have been in communication, texting, because Belichick said he watches every Rams game. He watches every big play that they make offensively, and you can see that intel, that attention that he had been paying for the Rams. September, October, people thought, man, New England, they're bad. They're 3-5 on the road. They've been blown out 3 times on the road, lost by 10 points on the road. Belichick could see who his opposition potentially would be.
Right.
And when they got to Super Bowl 53 yesterday in Atlanta, he had a game plan for McVay.
All right, let's take a break. Coming up, did Julian Edelman deserve to win Super Bowl MVP honors? That's next on First Things First.
It's a harsh world.